Today I will tell about a case that happened in the United States, a case that caused strong debate around the world. Unfortunately, the culprit causing that case is the husband and father who has built a perfect image on social networks of an extremely happy family and is admired by many people. So who is he that heartlessly causes crimes to his own family? Where does everything come from and why is it so? Let's go deep into the case. Family Man. Welcome to KYNX channel. One day in late autumn, the police received a missing phone call in Cororado from a friend of the missing person's family. After arriving, the police saw the caller and her son. She said, "I couldn't call my friend. Her job couldn't keep her from being on the phone all the time." Hearing this, the police started walking around the house and tried to get inside. According to the law in the United States, the police do not have the right to enter the house on their own without an arrest warrant or not in case the person inside has problems. That's why the police can only knock on the door around and ask the neighbors. The other girl kept calling her friend but couldn't, so she called her husband and decided to wait for her husband to come home. It wasn't long before the missing husband returned. His name was Chris and the missing persons were his wife Sannan and his two daughters Bella and Celes. Everyone at this time went into the house to search but found no one and did not notice any signs of disturbance in the house. Chris said that after seeing his wife returning from her business trip at 2 now by 5 a.m. he was at work, so don't know what happened. While worried, the police decided to go to a neighbor's house to extract the camera. But strangely, except for Chris, no one in the house went out. This raised strange suspicions. The story goes back to 2012, Chris and Sannan got married in the blessing of friends and family. But Chris's parents did not attend. In 2013, the couple bought themselves a large 5-bedroom house in Colorado. The happiness doubled when in December this year the couple welcomed a little angel and named the baby Bella. This is probably what many men dream of when they have a home with a beautiful wife and good children. The couple's life continued in happiness until 2016 the couple had another baby, Celes. However, at this time, Chris' family's life also had many changes when the domestic economy began to lose control. Chris's family is heavily indebted, owes money for a house, 2 cars, owes hospital expenses, school expenses for their eldest daughter, and many other loans. Their total debts can be up to more than $400,000 US. With such huge debt they declared bankruptcy at the end of 2016. Chris and Sannan did not stop trying. Both husband and wife tried to find work during 2017, no wonder Chris has qualified. Got a job at an oil company and Sannan ran a multi-level marketing business. With the nature of work every day, Sannan shares her life on social networks and of course family stories are no exception. She built on her personal page the image of a happy family that many admirers, from pictures of family activities, conversations with her 2 daughters, trips, all of which she posted on social networks. Her efforts have helped Sannan's work this year have a lot of luck. She has had business trips away from home or even been rewarded by the company for vacation trips with her family, and perhaps Sannan's own efforts have gradually and visibly affected the rest of the person's self-esteem. The time moves on to 2018 when everything in the family has begun to stabilize again and the crisis is over. The worst began to happen to the seemingly happy family. June 2018 Sannan suspected that she was pregnant, so she used a test strip many times to make sure. After knowing for sure that she was pregnant with her 3rd child, she quickly informed her husband and did not forget to record the moment. This happiness. Chris showed a very surprised and happy attitude when he heard that the family was about to welcome a new member. He happily exclaimed and then gently kissed his wife's cheek with extremely warm words. He guessed. Whatever I wish will come true. The appearance of this little angel made Sannan's mood much happier, and so did her family. A few days later she took her daughter Bella to school. In the car she was extremely happy and sang a song expressing the family's love for her father. The lyrics are filled with the pride and love of a little girl for her father. My dad is a superhero. Dad helps me grow up healthy. Dad give me peace. My dad reads books. Dad tie my shoelaces. Dad I love Dad. All her friends and colleagues after watching the video are extremely admiring her happy family. Especially everyone is jealous of Chris. See, he is the luckiest man in the world. To have a home is wonderful. But the truth is not as people think. Sannan does not know that when she and her daughter are having fun, her husband Chris is saving the phone number of his mistress, Nikin. The appearance of the third person made the couple's feelings grow further and further apart, both having to take care of their work and take care of their home. The pressure around her made her very tired, but with no greater love for her family, she still tries non-stop. June 27. To relieve and give my daughter a fun and arduous holiday, has suggested traveling to North Carolina for a 5-week vacation. But Chris said that he was busy with work at the oil field, so he had to stay at home and would come later. So in the end this vacation was only Sannan and his 2 daughters who came first. During July, when Sannan and her children are happily together, her husband is with another woman. He and his mistress took each other home for dinner and stayed in their own house. In the days that followed, the two started dating like newlyweds, taking pictures, and taking each other on dates at sandboarding bar exhibitions. She was worried about her husband, so on the afternoon of the day her husband took his mistress to the auto show, Sannan called 4 times in a row, but Chris ignored it. Seemed to realize that all of July had been spent with Nikin. On July 30th he sent her a love letter like a teenager and quickly caught a flight to his real family. His arrival made Sannan and their children very happy. Such a vacation took place in the joy of the whole family, especially Sannan, because she did not know her husband had another man. It seems that his wife's career is too outstanding. She becomes strong when she can earn money. Money and worries for his family made Chris feel more inferior, more self-respecting. This made him happy to enjoy the feeling of having a dream life, showing man's bravery when next to her lover. He feels pursued by his lover rather than running after his energetic wife. Towards Sannan, the sixth sense of women has shown her that her husband has changed a lot and their quarrels are getting more and more frequent. In August, Christ coldly made Sannan sad, so he confides in you. That day she texted her friend that he hasn't touched me for a week, never hugged or kissed him, changed, I don't recognize him anymore. She suspects her husband is having an affair. And gradually her sorrows with her husband, it seems that she can only tell her friends. Even before she had a quarrel with her mother-in-law, Chris's mother fed Bella with peanut butter and she had a very severe allergic reaction and sent her to the emergency room, which caused her and Chris to quarrel a lot. Even her parents-in-law then blocked Sannan on Facebook and didn't call her nephew on his birthday. Frustrated with the actions of her parents-in-law for her children, on the morning of August 4th, Sannan sent a very long message to Chris on the night of August 4th. The truth happened last night. I didn't tell him not to come to the party or to text or call my grandchild on her birthday. I didn't block anyone on Facebook anyway. It was Dad who did it. They owe it to the kids. Your family isn't a safe place. Your mom isn't safe at all. They can say whatever they want, but I don't forbid anyone to love children. They both do it themselves. You may think I made this mess, but it's not really. I just stood up for the kids. I don't want to hear apologies when it's too late. Children are everything to me. I want to protect them from evil. They deserve love. They deserve to be loved like other children. Can't accept your mother's apology for her. Know what she does. You have made it clear what I can't eat. It's wrong and not crazy. I just love kids too much. Chris just wants to end with Sannan, so he doesn't say much more. He also expressed his true attitude that not wanting a third child, 2 daughters, is more than enough to make Sannan extremely disappointed. Life the couple gradually grew cold and were forced to the brink of disbandment, but the work was still there. On August 9, Sannan put everything aside to prepare for her business trip in Arizona. At this time, Chris continues to date his mistress, I don't know, Sannan, thinking a lot about the couple. She confided in her friend that she wanted to mend her relationship with her husband after returning home. On the 13th, after a long business trip, Sannan was brought home by a female colleague at about 2 a.m. At this time Chris was sleeping. Sannan wanted to be intimate and they were together until morning. Chris, although he agreed, he felt uncomfortable about this and saw it as a test. Noon that day, while at the oil field where he worked, he received a call from his friend Sannan and the police about his wife and daughter missing and rushed back. Just entering the house, the police noticed that the furniture was neat and undisturbed. The bed sheet on the bed was pushed to the ground, but there was no trace of crime. The pillowcase was thrown in the kitchen trash. Chris told the police that he met his wife at 2 a.m. and by 4 o'clock the couple had a rather heated but still very normal conversation. By about 5:27, Chris packed his things in the car and left. That was also the last time he saw his wife. Nick's son suddenly discovered that the neighbor's camera could be seen in front of Chris's house, so he asked to see it. Chris suddenly felt worried in his heart but still had to be very calm, but even if he tried to show how, the policeman and his neighbor still noticed something unusual about him. After checking the police camera, it was discovered that he was the only one who left the house that morning, so all suspicions gradually increased. The attention of the entire United States at this time was directed at the case when the information about Sannan and 2 missing daughter goes viral. Chris appears on television and claims that he knows nothing about his wife and daughter's disappearance. However, during the investigation, shady details began to emerge. A friend of Sannan revealed that Chris had an affair. This made the family and the public more confused about the disappearance. The mystery of Sannan and his 2 daughters. When caught by the police and faced with the evidence of the crime, Chris finally confessed to his crime, but this time he blamed it all on his wife Sannan. Chris said he strangled Sannan in a fit of rage after witnessing her strangling their daughters Bella and Celes. He said he was very sad, tried to talk to her about separation and ending their marriage, and she retaliated by killing the girls. After killing Sannan, he gave 3 bodies to the oil field and burial. But the murderer's words at this time could not stop the public from turning to him. In the end, he didn't know because he couldn't stand the pressure or felt guilty about what he did and told the whole truth. He recounted that morning when Chris got up to go to work, Sannan started a conversation. The 2 talked for about 20 arduous minutes while crying and saying in tears that after everything, she knew there was someone else stepped into this marriage. Chris quashed the accusations but added that he had broken up with Sannan and simply couldn't get along anymore. After hearing Chris say that, Sannan was extremely disappointed and angry, saying that he should never expect to see the children again. This infuriated Chris and made him hold on to her. Too scared and hurt, with the baby in her belly, she begged him to let go. However, in a fit of rage, he slapped and strangled her to the point of suffocation, not knowing if it was due to helplessness or disappointment for her husband, but Sannan did not fight back or scream. When she stopped breathing, Chris was startled and shivered. At this time, the first daughter Bella heard the noise, so she entered the room to ask what happened to Mommy's mother. Feeling unwell, Chris calmly replied. Then he put his wife's body in a mattress and put it on the truck. Bella ran after crying, "Is Mommy okay, Dad?" He ignored his crying daughter. He continued to wrap his wife in the truck. Suddenly he stopped to look at the little girl and suddenly had a thought, thinking crazy. He was afraid his 4-year-old daughter was too smart and knew what was going on, so he went back to put his 2 children in the car. The whole way he pretended to be calm and lied to her that their mother was just sick and needed to be taken to the hospital. After taking the body of his wife and 2 children to the oil field where he worked, he hid his wife's body and intended to kill his 2 daughters without evidence. He took the bodies of his wife and young daughter one by one down the truck. After he returned, Bella burst into tears and asked him, "What did Dad do? What did Mom do to me? Will Dad do the same to me and cruel instead?" He answered yes. Christ is loved by his daughter and considers him a heroic father. In the end, before dying, Bella can only scream, "Daddy, don't." To hide the bodies of the 2 girls, he prepared a 20 centimeters barrel of oil. He broke all the shoulder bones of the 2 children's bodies to fit them in. Later investigation found that the corpse's belly was full of oil. This showed that there was oil. It is possible that one of the babies, when stuffed in, was still breathing. Finished his work, saw a call from Sannan's friend Nicole Untalk. He picked up the phone and lied that he was taking the child to a friend's house but did not tell her which friend it was, then calmly drove back home. When Chris got there, he saw the police and Nikan and her son at his house. He calmly opened the door and looked around as if nothing had happened. The truth makes people unable to believe that on social networks they are such a happy family, but it was the man of the family who killed his wife and 2 young children. In the end, he received a total of 9 counts, including 5 counts of first-degree murder, including 2 additional counts against his daughters because they were children under 12 years of age, 1 count of unlawful murder for his pregnant wife, and 3 counts of interfering with the body of a deceased person. He was eventually sentenced to 5 life sentences, 3 consecutive times and 2 concurrently for murder, plus a total of 84 years in prison for other charges. Now all the regrets of the murderer are too late and unforgivable. Try to ask how happy a family can be if there is no heartbreak. He will have a beautiful and talented wife, 2 lovely daughters, and prepare to welcome another beautiful baby boy. It's all just 2 words, if only. Social networks can tell a part of our real life. Sometimes you will be jealous of the sparkling happy life that others want to give you, see, but always remember it's just what they want to show you, and the truth has to be experienced together to understand.